Coming up next on Kiss My Kollectibles, it's Halloween, and we're talking Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park. Stay tuned for an exclusive interview. Want more Kiss? Be sure and hit that subscribe button, and hit the bell icon to stay up to date when we post new episodes.
This is KISS My Kollectibles podcast, but you knew that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Kiss My Kollectibles, your source for vinyl, toys, bootlegs, and more. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason Herndon, and with me, as always, is...
Andrew Scambetti. We should just put that on tape because you say it the same every time, and I feel like it should just be like, we should just hit play and just have that play, and then we just start after that.
Well,
there's no variation to that. What I'm saying is you got to mix it up a little bit. Mix it up. And it's just,
mix it up?
Mix it up.
I don't think so. It's our call. It's our call tag.
Well,
what do you mean mix it up?
This is a spooky episode. This is Halloween. We're going to talk about Kiss and Halloween and Kiss meets the Phantom and make it spooky.
Hello, everyone.
No, don't do that.
No, okay. Anyway, Andrew called it. We're going to talk about the Phantom a little bit today. Andrew has... interviewed someone on his own, and I'm going to let him talk about that a little bit so he can tell who he talked to and how it went and all that jazz.
Yeah, I actually talked to Cheap Trick drum technician Todd Trent. He works for Dax Nielsen, who's the drummer in Cheap Trick. He actually attended the Magic Mountain concert May 19th, 1978, which was taped for Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. So a little bit later on in the show, we're going to talk to Todd. He's going to talk about how he became a Kiss fan and what it was like attending such a landmark event in history, and then his reactions when he finally saw Kiss Meets the Phantom on TV, October 1978.
Yeah, so stick around for that. It'll be, towards the end of the episode, it'll be fun to watch. So, but before we get to all the Phantom goodies, our Halloween episode, and all of that jazz, we're going to show some new stuff. I was talking to Andrew ahead of time. He doesn't have anything new to show, but a lot of cool stuff has came out and started showing up as far as like the solo album colored album box set, the solo album Platinum Awards, the personalized Platinum Awards. I've got the new Ace Frehley Spaceman.
Another version of that.
Another version from E1, their autographed version, blue vinyl. I'm going to show that. But yeah, just going to show you all the new goodies I've gotten, all the money that I've spent, and because I paid for every bit of this shit, including the Ace. So
well, I've purchased stuff since the last episode, just not Kiss stuff. So, but you're going to show the Kiss stuff.
Andrew desperately wants to talk about his Hulk figure.
It's so cool.
Is it sitting next to you?
No.
Okay, then he can't show it. So he got him a Hulk figure. So anyway,
it's cool.
As Andrew has said many times, Andrew is a action figure collector, and it's far beyond Kiss, which is cool because I was a He-Man fan, and I had tons and tons of He-Man stuff before I got married, and sold it off.
Then when you get married, his wife was like, it's either He-Man or me. And he was like, I don't have the power.
I've lost the power along the way. But I still have some of my Voltron stuff, so that's cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, so I'll go ahead and show some of the things that I've got. There was a limited version. They did 2,000 pressings of this, the blue version variant of Spaceman, and Ace signed 500 of them. So I think that there are still some of the blue available to buy on E1's direct-to-consumer website, unsigned. The signed sold out in 2 days, but the unsigned, which is basically this version, you can I think you can still purchase it on their website. I don't think this is sold out. Go check, but it's a beautiful. What's cool about this is the variant. We've talked many times about the variant inner sleeve. This shows all of the costumes that he was wearing, so you got the orange, jumpsuit.
Now, what's interesting about these, and I know the deal with the Ace record was the same as my Steve Perry record. When you purchase the new records, they still give you the record sealed, and then they give you an additional signed sleeve.
That's correct. I was going to show that after I showed the vinyl. So let me go ahead and show the vinyl, and I'll show you how they sent it to me. But it's it's 180 grams, and it is a beautiful electric kind of blue. There's a slight bit of marbling in there, but you're going to get that from time to time on solid colors. But it's really a pretty record. But yes, so they send you a sealed copy of the blue standard. Mm-hmm. And then they send you an additional copy of the same cover, and it's autographed by Ace. So,
and it was funny when they first announced the Spaceman artwork. That picture of Ace had just started kind of making the rounds, and someone's like, "Hey, man, that'd be really cool if that was the cover and not the cover that they used." And then all of a sudden, this pops up. So maybe E1 listens.
Yeah, well, I know Ken Gillick listens, and of course, what they've done is. And some people are confused because they think, do I have the wrong download card inside of my record? Because each variant has a download card, and it has
the other variant,
one of the other variant covers inside. So,
except the orange one. The orange one has the correct download card to match the cover.
The orange has the orange. I can't remember it.
Yes, okay. I showed that last week.
I couldn't remember. There's a lot of variants, so it's getting mixed up and stuff in my head. So, but yeah, another cool version. Go to E1's website and see if you can grab that. I have the last version coming. I just shipped it from my work. We just got it in. The import version, which is on a deep purple, translucent purple. So I should have that the next time we record. So we'll do this part last.
Man, you got the same record 4 times.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's a sickness, man.
It's a sickness, and I have had a small conversation with the label, and there's a possibility that a standard black is coming. Basically, the version to stay in print. All of these other versions are out of print at the label. Mm-hmm. You can still find some of them in stores. But as far as getting them from the label, including the silver, they are sold out at the label.
So let me explain what that means, because we've had talks about this on and offline. It means that your retail store of choice, whether it be Amazon or whatever, they've purchased said pieces from the label, and the label currently doesn't have any more. So once those retail locations sell out, those retail locations, including Amazon, cannot reorder. Now, you could probably go on there today and probably get whatever version you want on Amazon, whether it be the silver, and they'll still have stock. But remember, Amazon has a bigger stock than most of all these other places. So you might see it on places like Amazon a little bit longer, but you can no longer order it from the record label.
And just to be clear, the orange was only available to indie retail stores. Amazon Direct does not sell the orange version.
Correct.
But like Andrew was saying, once this small mom and pop store in your area, say they had 5 copies of the silver or a copy of the orange, if those are sold out and they go to order it from the label today, they're going to say it's out of print. They're not going to be able to get it. So to combat that, if there's still demand for the record after I think there's about 10,000 pieces in the marketplace right now, to combat that, stores that are out of it, they are discussing pressing a black version, and that'll just be standard and stay in print for as long as needed, and then that'll be the version that you get. Of course, I'll want that too, because black is a variant to me. So
jeez. It's funny because I remember, and I remember this clearly because it came up in my Facebook notifications today, the time hop notifications, that 4 years ago today is when Love Gun Deluxe came out, and I had the hardest time finding that in brick and mortar stores. The Exchange, which is a used record store / new record store that's a chain that's by me, the one by me had 1 copy, and because it was on release day, they wouldn't hold it for me. So I had to rush after work to get it. And of course, nobody bought it because, as you know, Love Gun Deluxe was not the best received collection.
No, it wasn't.
So, but I still got it, and it's funny to me that these indie stores, they get so few of these catalog releases of not the biggest bands. Obviously, if it's a Queen variant or a Beatles variant, it's going to be different. But a band like KISS never was that A band, that A-level band. So the purpose of me saying that is the same store that maybe got 1 copy of Love Gun Deluxe is probably getting 1 or 2 copies of Ace. And
agreed.
When they sell out, they may not see it fit to order another copy.
That's correct. And that's basically how ordering goes. That's how the whole retail thing goes. Me working at a distributor, I noticed you can tell. I had certain customers of mine coming to me. I can think of a particular store in Atlanta. I'll go ahead and say it. Fantasyland, a very good customer of mine. I think initially they ordered like 2 or 3 copies of the orange variant, and then before it came out, they pre-ordered, and then he was getting calls on it, and he said, I need to bring in 5, and then 2 days later he said, up it to 8. A couple days later, send me 12. So I shipped all of those to him, and he sold out day of release and emailed me back and said, Ace Orange is gone. I need another, 10 copies. And so I told my buyer, hey, we've got to order some more Ace. We're out. And that's how I found out that it was out of print and out of stock at the label. And so, it's interesting, how it may not mean anything to Joe Record Store over here. Who the hell buys Ace Frehley? Who the hell buys KISS? But you got a store in Atlanta that's, blows out 12 copies on the day of the release, which is a big deal these days.
Yes.
Right. So anyway.
And the exchange probably still hasn't reordered Love Gun Deluxe.
Right. Yeah, right. So anyway, some of these things you're still going to be able to, some of these Ace variants you're still going to be able to find out there. Some of them are going to be gone pretty quickly. So start looking. Hopefully you don't have to get them on the secondary market. So we've pimped Ace quite a bit.
We have.
We're saying something, and I was going to say something about it, but I forgot. So anyway, on to the next thing. What? You going to say something?
Well, I was actually going to commend you because you were actually going back to how your birth name was spelled, because you're going back to Jason Hemdon instead of Jason Herndon, and I was just gonna really tip my my pimp hat for you on that. Tell them the story. It's a funny story. It's a funny story.
I came over a lowly Irish immigrant.
No, tell them the real story.
Okay. No, seriously. So one of the other things you could buy from KISS Online, well, I guess we should say that they're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the solo.
Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Peter Chris, Ace Frehley. The KISS albums, one by each of the 4 KISS stars on Casablanca Records and Tapes.
For that, they did a solo album box set of colored vinyl and a slip mat and all of this cool stuff. And one of the other things you could buy is an official RIAA Platinum Award that is personalized to you. This is the real deal. It's just like any Platinum Award given to the artist. This is not some of the cheaper ones. I remember back in the 90s, didn't they do it in the 90s where they released some like gold records?
Yes.
Those are not official RIAA awards. Those are more like plaque pieces to hang on your wall.
Yes.
This is an officially recognized RIAA award. It has the hologram emblem. They have the permission from the RIAA to print these and sell them. So you can get one for the solo albums personalized to you. So, and I think the cost was, what was it? Was it it was 200 and something?
Wasn't
I can't remember.
$299?
Might have been $299. Yeah, $299. So I got my first one in about a week ago. Maybe that's 10 days or something like that. And I pull it out of the box, and I'm like, man, this thing is gorgeous. How cool is that? And then, help guide me, Andrew.
It's pretty good. You see his name. Yeah, Jason Hemdon.
My name is Jason Herndon, Herdon, and I put Jason Herndon on you typed your name and it said, how do you want it personalized? And I typed capital J and then lowercase ASON and then capital HERNDON in lowercase. And I guess when you look at that really quick, the R
and the N
kind of runs together, makes it look like an M. So they sent it to Jason Hemdon. So if you are Jason Hemdon, and you want this.
You know, it actually, when I see it there, it looks kind of cool. It looks cool. But the reason why I'm so, I don't know, jaded about it, I'm so sick of seeing those solo album images.
Really?
They're everywhere.
That's one of the things that I don't ever tire of.
Yeah,
I love the solo.
But think about this. Images. Think about when I was initially shopping for KISS stuff in 96, 97, 98, 99, going to Spencer's, almost everything in Spencer's, KissShop.com, KissFreaks.com, everything was the solo albums. Everything.
Sure.
Is everywhere.
They're iconic, man.
They are. And if you can't see it, but like right up here is my solo album promo, Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm so sick of those goddamn solo album pictures.
Hey, if you ever want to sell that promo Arrow, I need it. Sell it to me.
I'll trade you that for the Hemdon.
If I can get them to let me keep that, that's a trade. I swear to God.
It's one of the corners of it is
I don't care. I don't
okay,
care.
I'm just letting you know.
I don't care. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
That's you heard it here first. I'll trade you if they'll let me keep it. I am going to email them and ask them what they would, hey, this is a misprint. Would you sell it to me for $50 or something? I don't know, and see what they say. No, you need to send that back immediately. So anyway, I emailed customer service. I think her name was Catherine at the KISS shop. She was fantastic and got my replacement out, and I got it 2 days later. And so now I have
Herndon.
There
you go.
D-O-N. So anyway, I think they're beautiful. I can't wait to hang it up on the wall next to my Kissology 5 times.
Which that is cool. That is something really, really cool.
Yeah, I wish I had the other two for the other 2 Kissologies. But so, all right.
Well,
so
that kind of all ties together. I mean, I know you're going to talk about some more stuff, but the solo albums, it ties together with Kiss Meets the Phantom because they came. Dude,
I was just going to say that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
It all ties together. It really does because in the fall of '78 it was Kiss Mania. It really was.
So September, we get September 18th, we get the solo album releases, and within a month and a week later, a month and a week later or something like that.
About that, Kiss Meets the Phantom comes out.
Kiss Meets the Phantom
October 28th, 1978.
That's right, October 28th. So, so the other thing to come out is this solo album box set, and so I'm just going to show you the bits and pieces of it. So you've got, the cover of the box, and you should be able to see the
it's very reminiscent of the 2001 Kiss box set, same style logo.
Matte and everything, and what's cool is on the side is it does say 40th anniversary. So
is that still the Mercury emblem that I saw?
That is a Mercury emblem, yes.
Look at that.
Yep. It's still a Mercury. And what's interesting is we have more label variants now, because the 2014s, what I assumed, because of the Destroyer red vinyl that Sound of Vinyl put out, that Universal put out, was they essentially used the same plates and covers for Destroyer. All they did was pressed it in a different color wax. Mm-hmm. But on these, so it's basically the 2014s on a different color wax. Mm-hmm. But on these, we have completely different labels, because at the bottom of them, it now says 1978 instead of 2014.
That's weird.
The covers are brand new, completely different, because on the backs of the covers are like the very first issue of the first album. We're not going to be able to show this, but they're actually stickers.
Oh, look at that.
It's not one solid piece. It's the back is a big sticker on the back of it, kind of like the first album, the very first issue. They're super thick covers. They do not have UPCs on them like the 2014s.
Well, because they wouldn't. You can't get these at retail locations.
Correct. That is correct.
And you know what? And I know Julian Gill on previous shows had talked about how he got different copies of Alive that he would heat, so he would take them apart to kind of get a little more. Right. I wonder if you were to peel off that sticker, if you even could peel off the sticker, if you would see the 2014 underneath there.
No, they are absolutely completely different covers. They're made out of a much thicker material. Mm-hmm. They are much more vibrant. Mm-hmm. They as much as I love the 2014s and all those Kiss My Wax episodes where I said you're silly if you don't go out and buy the 2014s.
And that's what made me buy the 2014s.
These bury the 2014 solo albums. Bury them.
Have you listened to them yet? Do they?
Not yet. Okay. Not yet, because I'm going to tell you why. Mm-hmm. The one thing that is interesting, though, is on the bottom of the inner sleeves. Let's see if we can get it to focus. No?
I see there's something there. What does it say?
Well, it says 2014.
Oh.
It says 2014 Island Def Jam Group. So anyway.
It sounds like they used the inner sleeves from 2014.
That's what it sounds like. I haven't completely compared them yet, but that's what it sounds like. So anyway, you've got these beautiful, vibrant new covers that are absolutely a variant from the 2014s. And one thing that we were unsure of is if they were going to come with the puzzle posters, but they do.
It's so cool.
And
so how many versions of those puzzle posters do you have now?
Well, a bunch. But what's interesting about these puzzle posters is they are absolutely a new print, because on the top, on the 2014s, I believe it says 2014 Island Def Jam Group. This says 1978, the Island Def Jam Group.
Ooh.
So it's pretty interesting how all of this has come together.
There's also another variation of those that kind of slipped under the radar in 2005 when KISS was going to put out the KISS World Store in Sydney, Australia. They released calendars with those solo albums in there. So that was the first time I got those puzzle piece posters, was in those calendars.
Yeah. So here's what KISS vinyl fans have been clamoring for forever: colored versions of the solo albums. And while I will go on record and say it's not perfect, because the colors are not all solid, mm-hmm. or they're not all marbled, they still look beautiful to me, and I'm not complaining one bit. So you've got Jean, which is this super vibrant red. Mm-hmm. And like I was saying on the label variant, it now says on the bottom, a Mercury Records release, copyright 1978 UMG recordings. On the 2014s, it says 2014.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I don't know why they would change that type, but they did. So anyway, Jean, and most of the reports that I've seen on Jean, what the hell is that?
Your fingerprint.
No, it's not. I just noticed that there's a little black that's in the vinyl.
Oh, weird.
So anyway, most of the reports I've seen, everybody got a solid red Jean, or it's actually kind of translucent a little bit if you hold it up to the light. But everybody got a solid red Jean. And then, so I won't pull out all the rest of the contents of the rest of the records. I'll just pull out the vinyl.
Okay.
Save us a little time here. So now this is what you get with Paul. You get a marbled purple.
And you could clearly tell that that's marbled. Even with the glare and everything, you can clearly tell that that's marbled.
Right. You can clearly tell. And I'm sorry about the glare. There's a window right here in front of me.
It's funny. You see, like, the glare on yours is the glare of, because you see my same lamp. And I'm like, oh, you see, like, it's weird for me. Because we got the same desk lamp.
Yeah. So, my desk lamp is the same desk lamp Andrew has is actually sitting right here.
And every time you show the wax, I see it in the wax.
You see it? That's funny.
Yeah.
So anyway, Paul's came out marbled to an extent. It's still beautiful though. My only thing would have been, if you're going to marble them all,
or don't marble any of them.
Or don't marble any of them. So I don't really know how that process breaks down, but there was a part of the advertisement that said that it would be a white base marbled color, is what it said. So who knows? So aces, some people have gotten marbled blue aces, and some people have gotten solid. The best I can tell on this one, my ace is solid.
Could it just be the distribution plant that they're pressing them in is maybe the plate, maybe the wax or the pellets that they get them in. Just some of the pellets are marble and some of them are not. Is it?
No, it's definitely.
How could it happen?
Well, because the hopper that you put the pellets in is not cleaned out completely. So, and like I had that black speck in that gene. There's a somehow there's black pellet in there
like
somewhere.
Finite piece of black was caught,
and it just gets smashed in the puck, and then it gets pressed down into the vinyl. So I don't know. We'd need to get a pressing expert. I do work for a company that owns the largest pressing plant in the United States, oldest and largest, but I'm not an expert on that. I'm on the distribution side, so maybe we'll get a vinyl pressing expert in here sometime and talk about that. So, but anyway, my ace is blue, and what's interesting, I wanted to do this. Because I was looking at the colors that was pressed for the solo albums, and that color blue for Aces is not the color I would have chosen because it's not exactly close to his blue.
That's more of a baby blue than anything else.
More of a baby blue. Here's the one from E1 for a solo album for comparison.
Yeah, I would have chosen the E1.
I think this color would have been better.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's still blue. It's still blue solo album. So.
Yeah.
It still looks nice. And then Peters is the other one that everybody that I've seen has gotten a marbled version of. So let's show that. And then here's Peters.
Cool.
Can you tell the marbling?
Yes.
So, but it's still gorgeous.
Yeah, man.
And I cannot wait to put them on the turntable and listen to them. And this is why I haven't, because this box set is shipped sealed with the solo albums sitting on top of each other. The records themselves are not sealed, and there's nothing in between them that prevents any rubbing. And if you take the box set and put it on your hand and do this, just barely, you can hear the stuff shifting around inside of it. What that has caused is some markings on the backs and fronts of some of these covers, unfortunately. And there's been some reports in Kiss My Wax, a lot of reports in Kiss My Wax of people that had pristine boxes. And then there are a few people like myself that has some with markings on the front and the back of the covers. Sound of Vinyl has been absolutely fantastic and said, we'll replace it. So I'm getting a replacement box coming. Unfortunately, they won't bust it open and try to protect those records somehow. So it's just going to be a crapshoot if I get a better version or not. I'm going to bust it open and see which version is better, keep that, and send the other one back. So. Okay. Right. The other part of this, and we'll just go through these parts real quick, is they did, and these they protected with rice paper. They did these amazing prints.
See, those are cool.
Yeah, they are frameable, and they
12
look.
by 12?
They're 12 by 12. Yep, 12 by 12, totally frameable, and they're just really, really, really nice. So there's that. And then the last piece that you got with this thing is a slip mat that has this new design of the faces to get them all on there.
About that.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't, but I don't really know how you get all of these faces on a slip mat and make it look, and what else do you do to get them all on there? I don't know. And this is the same design that they use on the label of the Platinum Award that you get as well.
Yeah, again, not crazy about that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that, and I'm not super crazy about it, but I don't hate it. And then the back of the box is just plain, so there's nothing on the back of the box. So there's the solo album box set. That is still available from the Sound of Vinyl, which is Universal's direct consumer website. They did 300 of these in a bundle with some extras, some pins and coasters and a T-shirt on Kiss Online.
Which I like the T-shirt.
I agree. Those have long sold out. But you can still get this on the Sound of Vinyl. It's the only place you can get it. Don't go to eBay right now because I saw one up for like $399 on eBay. They're $199 at Sound of Vinyl. You can do it through their texting service or go to their website. I don't think it's available for overseas customers. I'm not 100% sure. But domestic guys, just search for the Sound of Vinyl, and you should be able to get it still. So, as of the airing of this video, anyway.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. But
and that's it. That's all the new shit I got.
That's seeing your stuff. It kind of makes me want to get it. At least at least get that award. That award's very cool. That's a very cool award.
I will destroy you, all of you. You kids will be my instrument. Yikes. Apes is more like it. We've got to get out of here. I don't believe it! Yes, you can believe it.
And now on NBC's Saturday Night at the Movies.
Let's talk about Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. October 28th, 1978. This was supposed to be A Hard Day's Night meets Star Wars, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was
not even close.
Not even close. The cracks on the surface of this one was just, you could tell that there was something going on within Kiss, because this was hokey. Even with whatever was going on in the 70s, this is still hokey for the 70s. This band, it was first Lock Up Your Daughters, Here Comes Kiss, and now Kiss was a kids band. Can't really blame them. I mean, this year we saw Kiss radios, Kiss dolls, Kiss color forms, Kiss, trash cans, and the merchandise was definitely being aimed at kids, because they, once you're a teenager, when you grow up, you don't like the same stuff. If you're a kid, you're gonna grow up, and they were just trying to get more consumers to buy their stuff. So this was a product of that. However, this was the first and only thing at the time to show Kiss at their prime in the 1977 Love Gun costumes and Love Gun tour. So for a long time before these bootlegs started coming out, this was the only place where you could see Kiss live. And there really wasn't a whole lot of live footage in this movie. There was just a little bit of I Stole Your Love, not even the entire song of I Stole Your Love. Shout Out Loud was lip synced, and then, as you know, Rock and Roll Night was lip synced. Then you saw some shots of Black Diamond, which the audio of Black Diamond is from Magic Mountain. However, all the video footage that was shown during the Black Diamond sequence was not from Black Diamond, except the drums actually going up at the end. Everything else was just cobbled together. And this was the only show that we are aware of, as of the recording of this episode, that was actually shot on film. Everything else that you see of Kiss from the 70s was shot on videotape. So what does that really mean? Videotape is a much smaller medium. Capturing something on film, you're able to blow up stuff into HD and 4K and all that stuff by cleaning up the film reels. This is the only thing that was shot on film. Now, with that being said, it is well known at this point that there is no film footage that has survived. There are little clips, so what you're seeing right now are just clips that were thrown on YouTube to promote some auctions for some Kiss stuff. It is silent. Later on, someone did go ahead and did sync some audio into it, but this is just silent footage that was shot. When movies are shot, film is shot in one canister and audio is captured in a completely different source, and then those things are meshed together. So these little couple minutes here, this is all that exists of additional Kiss Meets the Phantom concert footage. This was the most important concert for Kiss. It was captured, but it was not preserved. And
what a shame.
Exactly. I've spent many nights just, why? So in 2007, Kissology 2 came out, and they released Attack of the Phantoms, where there is some additional footage within Attack of the Phantoms. So people thought, well, where is this footage? But Attack of the Phantoms was assembled in 1979, so whatever was surviving at that point was just sent overseas for them to make their own edit. But yeah, thoughts?
My thoughts on the Phantom as a whole, or my thoughts on this situation that you just explained. It's a travesty.
This situation first. It's
a travesty that footage like that just gets thrown to the cutting room floor and then is discarded. But, when you think about it, who's really thinking that anybody else is going to want to watch that footage 40 years down the line?
5 years down the line. Because if you remember, in just literally 3 years, by 1981, no one gave a shit about Kiss.
Right. So, why spend the money and the time and the effort to preserve that footage when you can just throw it in the dumpster and and save your space and not have to worry about cataloging and making sure it doesn't get ruined. And that all costs money and efforts. I mean, we think about the shit that we own personally, and trying, as far as KISS collecting, and trying to make sure it doesn't get ruined and it's nice and preserved. Think about that on a massive scale from a film company or a television studio or any of that stuff. It's not just KISS, it's thousands and thousands and thousands of people and bands and celebrities and all that stuff. You got to do something with it. And that you just don't keep it. You just throw it away. You got what you needed.
Back then it was way more expensive to do that than it is now.
Right.
I mean, now you dump the film reels onto a hard drive and you have a backup of a backup, and
that's it. Yeah. Back then you had to house canisters. Lots of large canisters,
large canisters.
Yeah, and so I mean, we certainly see why you throw it away and you don't preserve it. But to us that are just clamoring for something else from the original band from the 70s on film or video, we're like, man, why weren't somebody thinking this stuff needs to be saved? How great would it have been to reissue Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park for the 40th anniversary and show the whole show on a bonus disc?
Or 5 songs, and then just kind of, what they did with Kissology.
Right, or cut out half of it, So anyway, yeah, that's a travesty.
Yeah.
But Kiss Meets the Phantom is an interesting time in my life because I might have told this story before, and I know Andrew's heard it, and so he's probably like, "Why do you keep saying this?" But but it's an interesting time in my life because I have a memory of Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, and it's probably the oldest memory that I have. And a lot of people create memories in their mind when they see things later and it didn't really happen. And I always wondered if that was the case with this particular memory. But I had a chance to talk to my parents about this, and so I feel confident to tell the story that Kiss Meets the Phantom, when it originally aired, was the first time I was ever introduced to KISS. And what I remember is sitting on a couch with my mom and dad, and we had a black and white 19-inch Zenith television. The only reason why I remember that is because that stayed in, we had that when I was 12 years old too, still. So, but it was no remote. We were pretty poor, and you had to get up and go change the channel. And, we probably only had 5 stations, at the time. And I remember my mom getting up and going to change the TV channel, and she stopped for a second. And I remember seeing KISS, or what looked like, it had, it was KISS, but I didn't know it was KISS. But I remember seeing these guys, and she stopped for a second and she went on, and I kind of complained, and I said, Mom, turn it back to those funny looking clowns. That's what my mom and dad always told me that I said. And they always told me that's how I discovered KISS. So I turned it back, she turned it back, and I watched part of the Phantom for however long. I don't remember much about it. I just remembered seeing that, and I remembered saying that, and my parents told me that was definitely true, that it actually happened. So it wasn't that I was into the music at the time. I would have been almost turning 4 years old. And, because my birthday is in December. And so for my birthday and Christmas, I had a Mickey Mouse record player, and my parents went to the local 5 and dime store, and they bought me Destroyer on vinyl.
Which you still have.
Which I still have. Not to listen to the music, but to look at their album cover. Because that was all they could find, that I could go and look at those funny looking clowns. And then, of course, I took the record out and I stuck it on the Mickey Mouse turntable and I played it, and from there I was obsessed. And by my 5th birthday, I probably had 10 records, a year later. And then from there it just grew. I would get them to buy me whatever magazine they were on the cover of, 16 magazine at the time that we saw in the stores and stuff. And so Kiss Meets the Phantom, as cheesy as it may be, certainly holds a special place in my heart.
Well, me too. So. I mean, I saw that before I knew they were a band. I had the Kiss Meets the Phantom and the comic. I mean, I've told the story many times too. But I distinctly remember after I had seen Kiss Meets the Phantom, and I think it was a beta recording, and I don't think it was the original airing, but it still had commercials in it. I know that. I had a beta recording, and then we went to the local Kmart one day, and then I saw the Kiss Meets the Phantom VHS, which I've shown on the show before, which I still have. So my mother bought me that original VHS, and there you have it. I've seen it like 100 times. I'm gonna watch it, this Halloween, like I always do every Halloween.
Yeah.
But what I will say is, 20 years later for Halloween, 1998, I distinctly remember that Halloween better than any Halloween ever, because that's when Kiss released Psycho Circus. They started the tour, and they were on Fox. And I remember watching Millennium, and I remember watching Mad TV, and then I remember watching the little bit of the concert on Fox. I remember that. Like, so for me, Kiss, like Halloween always meant Kiss.
Yeah.
So for the kids that saw Kiss Meets the Phantom in the 70s, maybe they had a little bit of a different product than me, but I remember in 98, I remember this is great. I remember like watching like the previews channel, and Kiss was on the previews channel, just, talking about this. So footage that I would die to see again.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to do a call out to anybody who's watching this. If you have any footage of Kiss from The Simpsons in 1996, they were on top of the Hard Rock Hotel, I think in Las Vegas. They were giving away tickets, and I remember Paul like having the tickets at Tiger Stadium. He's like, you want them. And I remember seeing that because I was a huge Simpsons fan in 96. I remember watching that and then seeing Kiss, and I was like, wow, mommy, Kiss. So if anybody has that footage, I've never seen it since then. I really want to see it.
We're back with Fox's Rockin' Sunday from the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Vegas. Steve Van Wormer here with the big one. 2 front row tickets to the first Kiss concert in 17 years at Tiger Stadium in Detroit Rock City. You know you want it. A hotel room to trash, an autographed history book, and the official Kiss leather jacket. Come and get them.
I've got this little ad for the Phantom out of TV Guide.
I think that's out of the TV Guide that I showed, the one with Mork on the cover.
Yeah. I acquired this little photo album kind of thing that my good friend Danny Dabbs made, and I just remembered that particular little ad was in there. But yeah, it's from the TV Guide that you showed. So there's that ad, and then the other bit of cool merchandise from the Phantom is
I got one of those too.
Phantom magazine.
Kiss Meets the Phantom magazine. Yeah.
And
also Marvel Comics Super Special number 5, which is Kiss comic number 2, has a Phantom article in the back.
Yep. So, cool stuff. This is kind of like this is a necessary piece to have in your collection, I think. It is. So, but what are you leaning in for? Seeing our time?
Yeah, I was just seeing the time.
We're good. But there's also there's in their audience recording of the Magic Mountain show as well.
Yes, there's an audience recording of the Magic Mountain show which circulates. It's not that great. You can probably find it on YouTube. There's also 8mm footage that some of it's in color, some of it's in black and white. We're not going to show it because it's not good. It's just not good. You can barely see what's going on there. So it's for completists only.
Right. All that stuff is for completists only, but if you want to hear it, as far as the audio goes, the show is out there. But it's just a shame that the whole show doesn't exist on film somewhere.
I agree. I agree.
So let's switch and let's let Andrew introduce his interview.
Let's go to Todd Trent, who is actually at the Magic Mountain show, May 19th, 1978. I'm sitting down with Todd Trent. For those of you that don't know, he works for Cheap Trick. He is Dax Nielsen's drum technician. And how long you been working with Dax?
Dax full-time 4 years now, just under 4 years.
But you've been in the business for many, many years before that. So you've definitely been around the block once or twice. So again, thank you so much for sitting down with us here. As everybody knows, if you're just tuning in, we are talking all things Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. And we're sitting down with Todd here today because Todd was actually at the Magic Mountain concert on May 19th, 1978. So
yes,
we definitely want to talk about that. But my first question to you is, KISS was at their height in 1978. Were you a KISS fan before going to the show?
Oh, absolutely. Started with a live one, and then went and got all the previous records. And then, fast forward through, besides, seeing the Phantom show, being at the Forum, one of the 3 nights they recorded a live 3 or a live 2, then going to work for Ludwig for 25 years, working with Eric Carr. I worked on videos with them. I worked on Hot in the Shade record with them in the studio. So yeah, it's come a lot of full circle.
So we may know a bunch of the same people. I know Kevin Valentine did some of the demos on Hot in the Shade, as well as another friend of mine. His name slips my mind, but he's another Cleveland cat because I'm here in Cleveland. So we're probably like 6 degrees of separation on there.
I'm sure there is.
Okay, so I know, and I just know from reading this, I obviously wasn't alive. I'm not old enough to have gone to the show, but I know that you had to win tickets to get there. So what'd you have to do to get tickets to the show?
Well, my best friend and I, John Elston, we were literally on the phone hours a day, dialing to 10Q radio, trying to win these tickets, to the point to where our mothers and sisters were so disgusted that they wanted us to finally get them. So they started dialing in the off hour. And it was actually my friend, his sister got through first and actually got 1 pair of tickets. Mm-hmm. And then I got through for the second pair. And so it was my friend John, his sister, his mom, and myself that went, because we weren't old enough to drive yet.
That's so cool, because now you see, there are a lot of ticket giveaways via Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff. It's really a lost art. Kids today, they don't know what it's like to just sit there and just call and call and call and call and call. I was at the tail end of that, so I got to call in to do some things, but today, nobody calls into radio stations to win things.
And this was rotary dial.
So you actually had to work for it.
To dial the number to LA.
So this wasn't your first KISS show, so you kind of knew what to expect. Were you aware that they were filming it for the movie before going to the show?
They said that all over the radio. They're filming a movie there, and they're going to do a concert sequence, and they're going to allow X number of people in for the audience, and so the deal was you got the tickets, mm-hmm. you got to go in starting I think at 4 or 5 o'clock, mm-hmm. and you could go into the park, and the park was open to ride rides, but we didn't. We just went straight and sat in the audience and got a good seat.
So I got to ask before we talk more about this. You obviously seen KISS Meets the Phantom of the Park, correct?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen yourself in the?
No, I'm about 20, 30 rows back, okay. So you're not going to see me.
Okay. So if you remember, because I know we're coming up on the 40th anniversary of all this happening. It obviously happened in May, and then the 40th anniversary of them airing is going to be Halloween night this year.
Right.
So what do you remember about the day? What do you remember going into this show, and what kind of excitement levels were you at?
Well, we were kids. We were beyond excited. I mean, the first time I saw KISS was at the Forum when they were recording a live 2. Okay. We literally had the furthest seat you could get from the stage at the very top of the back. I sat next to a follow spot operator. That's how far back we were.
But it didn't matter. You were there. Yeah.
So I knew we were going to be close. So that was exciting. But we were there for quite a few hours before. And there was a big chain link fence to stage left with a compound where the backstage trailers were. Mm-hmm. And you could see them walking around back there during the day. We held it up to the fence, and you could peek through the barriers through the chain link. Mm-hmm. And Peter's walking around with absolutely no mask on, just a headband. And the rest of them were walking around with, facial masks and stuff, or bandanas. But Peter's just walking around with a Coors Light, drinking a beer and being Peter. So it was like, that part was pretty exciting too.
So you get to the show, and from what I've read, and I do have a pretty crappy audience recording of the show, it was a full show, and then I understand they lip-synced several songs after that.
Right. It was, and they shot the fight sequences too. Oh. So it was pretty hokey, really, but it is what it is. But we got to see the live show, mm-hmm. and then they did, like you said, a bunch of camera blocking and a bunch of lip sync, mm-hmm. and then they shot the fight sequences, a couple of them anyway.
Okay, because I think Just judging by watching it so many times, you could kind of see that some of the fight sequences were done without any audience there, because I'm assuming they kind of didn't want to give it away that there were going to be KISS clones on stage and doing that. Okay, so you spend all day, and it's probably the hot LA summer, or almost summer rather, late spring. Yeah. Spend all day watching this. You see the show. The show's great. You go back home. What were your first thoughts sitting down on Halloween and seeing this KISS Meets the Phantom of the Park for the very first time?
You have very grandiose thoughts. It's like it's going to be spectacular. It's going to be magnificent. And, it wasn't. It was what it was. But we were still kids, and it was like, this is fun, and then when they showed some of the concert scenes, we were like, we were there, then you're looking for yourself, and you're not going to see yourself when you're that far back, but you're looking. And we had a big giant sign we were holding up, and there's this, it might have been a postage stamp in the back from where we could see with the camera, but it was still exciting. It was still fun. It was still a great experience to be a part of.
Yeah, because the internet's a huge thing now. You could see and meet fans from all around the world. And I've been on the message boards for many, many years. I think I know less than 5 people that said they were actually at the show and can actually back it up and say, well, I had this and I saw this day. And they could actually tell me so that they actually went there. So it's kind of one of those things that I kind of wish it was more well documented as far as fans go. I wish there were kind of like more disposable pictures and more home movie type things. So the movie's kind of hokey the first time you saw it. Did you ever rewatch it years later? Do you still think it's as hokey as it was back then?
Yeah, I saw it one other time, maybe 15 years ago. And it was kind of worse, but that made it cooler for me because, that kind of brought it all home, what they were doing and what it was. And it was kind of cool and hokey, but I still enjoyed it.
I enjoyed the movie quite a bit. And this movie is kind of what got me into KISS. I didn't know they were a band at the time. Yeah. I thought they were just superheroes. So, again, I was a kid. I was maybe 3 or 4 years old. So seeing that, I was like, well, wow, this was cool. And then I remember when I got a little bit older, maybe like 8 or 9 years old, I kind of lied to my friends and go, oh, yeah, that kid in the crowd, that's me. You can't even tell, but that's because they didn't know it was in the 70s. So kind of talk a little bit about you seeing the band at their height, in their heyday. You're seeing two of the most important events that they had in the late 70s. How does that work into you working with the band years later? Obviously, you're a professional, but does it kind of change the way you approached working with them years later because you were there at their infancy?
I don't know that it changed the way I approached it. Mm-hmm. My working with them was a byproduct of being involved with Ludwig drums. Mm-hmm. It was very early, really. It was the 84 tour. Mm-hmm. And I got a phone call. I worked at a music store, and I had just started helping out Bill Ludwig III mm-hmm. from Ludwig Drums in the Artist Relations Department with small tasks around LA because we had lots of parts and we had lots of drums. And MTV was in its infancy still, and everybody was needing gear, and there was no such thing as center staging, or SIR wasn't this mega thing that it is now. So I would get calls to take stuff out. And I got a phone call, and he goes, hey, KISS is in San Bernardino at the Orange Pavilion, and they've got a broken tom mount. They don't have a spare. Can you run one out? And I was like, yes. And still a big fan. So I went out, and I parked backstage, went back, talked with the tech for a while, did that, became friends with Eric through that. So then fast forward through the next couple of tours, I would visit and hang out. But then when they started to do the whole Crazy Nights thing, mm-hmm. Ludwig wanted to do a big photo shoot with it. They wanted to do a big poster. So mm-hmm. I started working with him, first teching the drums for the photo shoot for Crazy Nights. And then
that poster is still on my wall today.
Yeah. Actually, I don't have them anymore. I don't even know what happened to mine, so I got to try and get some somewhere. So then you fast forward through that tour, and I did I was the drum tech on the Crazy Nights video. I brought out that big white kit and set it up mm-hmm. Along with his tech. I was the supplier, and he helped me with it. Mm-hmm. And that was a crazy day. The Olympic Auditorium, just unbearable heat, lots of people. Video shoots take forever to get 10 seconds of film.
Yeah.
So then you fast forward to they're doing the Hot in the Shade record. And Eric calls and says, we're doing this a little differently. It's a lower budget. We're over here at the Fortress. I need some gear. Can you bring it out and help me set it up? And so I went in and set it up and did some teching for him with that. Most specifically, my most vivid memory was working on the Cadillac Dreams, Gene songs, and last minute having to acquire a pair of maracas from SIR at that night, after closing. And, Gene's a great guy, but he's like, now. It's like, okay, I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And so then, did all the videos. God, it was what? Rise to It,
Yep.
Hide Your Heart Forever.
Yep.
And then the last thing I ever did with them is I was the drum tech on the God Gave Rock and Roll to You video.
Oh, okay.
And then Eric passed away not too long after that. So
yeah. So you've had a long history with KISS. So you kind of made the transition from fan to working with the band. Are you still a fan?
Yeah.
If you saw anybody in KISS Co nowadays, is there a thumbs up? Do you see them at all?
Yeah, I am still a fan. I am in contact periodically with Eric Singer. He and I have known each other for years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely a fan. Gene's come to several Cheap Trick shows over the years that I've been working, and it's funny. There's a really funny story. I want to say it's the Hide Your Heart video. Is that the one that was shot on the rooftop in LA?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So Gene's wife, not now, or now wife, Sharon, is that right?
Shannon Tweed.
Shannon. She shows up with Gene's young son, and he's like 3 years old, and he's wearing this white T-shirt with a picture of Gene's makeup face on it, sticking his tongue out, and below it says "Daddy." And so, fast forward to a few years ago, Cheap Trick were doing shows with Aerosmith, and Gene was at the show with his son, who's this giant
than him.
yeah. And they're backstage, and I said, "You don't know me, but I want to tell you a quick story." And I told him that story. He goes, "My mom told me about that shirt." So
he doesn't fit any of us nowadays. He was so tiny.
Yeah, yeah. He doesn't have it anymore, obviously, but funny.
Or it's been on eBay somewhere. You never know.
Yeah,
you never know with these things. So I gotta ask. The collector in me has to ask. We're a collecting show. Did you keep any of the items from the Fame Day at Phantom of the Park? Did you keep the ticket, the parking pass?
I did not. I did not. It's funny that stuff got boxed, and years of moving and things, and I just lost track of it. Don't have it. The only collectibles from KISS I have is I've kept every laminate I've ever had from them, which is really from the '84 tour on. I have every laminate up through Hot in the Shade. Yeah. And some of Eric's sticks and that kind of thing. But I don't have any of the Phantom stuff at all.
It's funny that you say that, because you're not even the first person that said that. I have one other actual close friend that I've spent a lot of time with who went to Phantom, and he's like, "Hey, you know what? That day, none of us knew. You took it, you crinkled it up in your back pocket, or if you were cheering and you dropped it, or you left it in the car, or your friend took it." And I mean, now those things are on eBay before the show is even over.
Oh yeah,
for people to buy them. Well, so since we got you, and since it's been news, and I know they're getting ready to do the huge PR push starting next week. KISS will be on Jimmy Fallon next week, promoting the End of the Road. What do you think about the End of the Road for KISS?
Well, I hate to use the term "it's time." I just think that doing large scale tours is it's time. Do a really big one. Record it. Do a live DVD version. Do the record. And then tour on that at the end of it, and then call it a day. Give everybody a chance to see it. But do 2 rounds of it. Go around and around. Make it big. I just think it's time. I don't think that their music is necessarily over. I think that it's time that they put it away. I don't think Paul really wants to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just time to do a big one and call it a day.
That's what a lot of fans have said too. No one is complaining about their bad or good or whatever. They just say these guys are almost 70 years old, and they're literally wearing armor and all this stuff on stage. and they can probably beat you and I in a cardio race. And so for them, I could totally understand wanting to quit and wanting to kind of do one more victory lap. So I knew it was coming. It was the worst kept secret, so I knew it was coming, and I'm happy to have been around for the end and to be able to do what I've done because of KISS. So any final thoughts? Any other funny, crazy KISS stories you want to share with our listeners here today?
There is a funny story to that. Cheap Trick did all 3 nights there, and you fast forward to 1988, and I'm the drum tech on the Flame video. And I start working, doing some things through Ludwig and through Bunny with the band over time. And a few years down the road, somehow Bunny and I get on that conversation about, I was at that show. And he goes, well, which night? Because there were 3 nights. And I told him, and he goes, okay, great. And he sends me the board tape from that night.
Wow.
So board tape from the show that night.
Wow. There's a rumor going around that there was a night where Peter was almost too ill to play. And they said they almost dressed Bunny up in makeup and threw Bunny on the stage. You know, no one would have ever known at that time because no one ever known KISS without their makeup. But Bunny would have had to shave his mustache, and he probably didn't want to do that.
Put on a wig, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like Cesar Romero back there with the white over the mustache.
That is true. At least that's what I was told from Bunny. Bunny, and I think Rick has told me the story as well, that, you know, one night they came up and said, you know, you may be playing tonight, you know, try on the suit. And it never even got as far as trying on the suit, you know, but he didn't do it. But yeah.
Can you imagine that before the internet days? I mean, now you know that the artist is sick before the show is over, but you know, you may not have even have known back then. I mean, it could have very well have happened, and none of us even were.
Well, there was one night, I believe, in the 2000 tour where Peter's tech Eddie played for him.
That was actually, and I'm gonna go KISS minutia because that's, you know, I'm a KISS savant. It was actually April 12th, 1997, in Columbus, Georgia, where Eddie Cannon played for Peter Criss. But Paul announced it.
Yeah. Oh no, it was announced, and Eddie told me the story. He says, the band shows up, they came in on the jet, and there's no Peter, and Gene walks up and goes, nice beard, shave it, you're playing tonight. And they did an elongated sound check where they did, you know, starts and stops of songs and kind of went through things, and it's really funny if you watch the video of that show. There's a really high class video of it out there, where I guess it's like the second song, Gene turns around to Eddie and goes, slow down. And so he brought it down, and then his nerves went away, and he was fine the rest of the show.
You know, I listened to that show. I may not have even known what was really going on at the time. I was really young when I heard it, and I don't think I heard anything that was out of the ordinary as far as playing goes. So, you know, if Ed Cannon's listening to this, you know, he did a tremendous job.
Are you kidding?
For just getting up there and saying, well, hey, we're the biggest tour in probably the world at that time, and you're going to get up and play. So put on that makeup and do it. And you know, kudos to him, and kudos to them for wanting to continue on. So all right, listen, Todd, thank you so much for sitting down and talking KISS and talking about KISS Meets the Phantom of the Park. You have an open invitation to come back on if you ever want to share more stories and go into kind of this crazy KISS world that we all live in. But check out cheaptrick.com, see all their dates, and Todd will be out with Cheap Trick. I think you guys just got back from a pretty lengthy tour, right?
Yeah, we're on the road about 200 days a year. We just got back from, we were basically gone all summer. Then we were in Australia and Japan for a couple of weeks. Now we've got just a couple of off shows here in the U.S. through November, and then late November through almost the end of December, we're out with Def Leppard in Ireland and the UK.
The hardest working band in rock and roll.
One of them.
and I always kind of say they're, you know, I call them the best band, the best American band in rock and roll. KISS is still my favorite, but I say they're the best American band in rock and roll. So again, Todd, thank you so much for sitting down with us and talking KISS Meets the Phantom and talking KISS.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you. So we want to thank Todd Trent again for sitting down with us and talking about KISS Meets the Phantom, talking about his KISS fandom, and he has, like I mentioned, he has an open invitation to come back anytime he wants to this show to talk about KISS, and I will definitely be seeing Todd in January up in Niagara Falls.
Very cool. Very cool interview. Thanks to Andrew for doing it. I wasn't able to be there at the time, had family commitments.
He is a lazy piece of shit, and that's why
I'm a lazy piece of shit. But no, I appreciate you doing that, man, and getting that cool exclusive for us. Also, wherever I share this on social media, share, post your stories about your experience with Kiss Meets the Phantom. When did you first see it? What do you think about it? Don't trash it. We know it's campy. Everybody knows it's cheesy.
It is.
But regardless, it's an important piece of the puzzle.
It is.
So tell us your thoughts on Phantom, or more importantly, your experience with the Phantom.
Yeah.
But
or
anyway,
if you ever met Anthony Zerbe, because my Kiss fandom spiraled out of control to the point where not only was I watching Kiss, but I was also watching films that Anthony Zerbe was in. He was actually in a movie with Charlton Heston in the 70s called The Omega Man. And
interesting.
I actually really enjoyed it. That's super cheesy, but I enjoyed it because I was like, dude, there's the Phantom.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, there's.
It's kind of like, expounding on that. It's kind of like following all of these. You've got the Kiss members that have moved on, and you've got all these people that have been in like Ace's band, and then it's like following Richie Scarlett or Todd Howard on what they're doing next.
Yeah.
So Anthony Zerbe did something with Kiss.
Apparently, he was like a really high regarded American actor for a long time.
He was,
and he used to do workshops. And Matt Porter over at the Kiss Room actually attended one of his workshops. I think in like 2005 or something.
Wow,
got him to
that's
sign
cool.
something. I would love to meet him. I'd love to meet him. He was actually in, what was that movie with Christian Bale? And it was on the 1970s. Christian Bale, Jeremy Renner was in it, Amy Adams. The heck was the name of it?
I don't know.
Anyway, but Anthony Zerbe does a cameo in that too. So
Gotcha.
Someone tell me in the comments what that movie is.
All right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed it, and
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, and we will see you on the next one.